Thank you. And again, welcome so that we can go through together under this area of perfect squares. We know that there are numbers that are called perfect squares, and also there are expressions and equations that are also called perfect squares. So I just wanted us to know, how do you know a particular number is a perfect square? What are these perfect square numbers? And then we'll proceed on to expressions and equations that are perfect squares for that case. To start with, I look at what are these perfect squares, and by so doing I'll define what are perfect square numbers. And I'll say that perfect square numbers are numbers that are obtained by squaring a whole number or an integer. Numbers such as 1, 4, 9, 16, and 25, to name a few, can be expressed as 1 square, 2 square, 3 squared, 4 squared, and also 5 squared, respectively. Such numbers are therefore called perfect square numbers. Numbers that you can write it into 2, like maybe 4 equals to 2 times 2. Two numbers that you can actually square that particular number or integer, and you get that particular number. Then such numbers are referred to this case as perfect square numbers. And I've said, for example, 1 can be written as 1 square, 2 can be written as 4 can be written as 2 squares, and then 9 can be written as 3 square, because 3 times 3 is 9, 4 times 4 is 16, and 5 times 5 is 25. Such numbers are the one that we refer to this case as perfect squares. Expressions such as a squared plus 2ab plus b squared can be factorized into a plus b, close the bracket, a plus b, again close the bracket. Realize that this expression can be factorized into 2 equal parts, and these 2 equal parts can be expressed as a plus b then squared. Similarly, we have another expression here, which is a squared minus 2ab plus b squared equals to. Now, if you are to factorize this one, you'll have a minus b, close the bracket, a minus b, again close the bracket. Now, the expressions under brackets are similar. Therefore, we can write one of them and then square it. So realize that these two expressions can be written as a plus b squared or a minus b squared, respectively. Now, such expressions are called perfect squares. Now, notice that for any perfect square expressions or equation, then for any perfect square expression or equation, then b divided by 2 squared should be equals to ac. Now remember, if you take the constant b, you divide it by 2, you square, then you are supposed to get ac. And that is going to be demonstrated as we move on. Now consider this, for instance, is x squared minus 8x plus 16 a perfect square expression? Look at it. Now realize that you can first of all single out those constants so that we know what is our a, what is our b, and what is our c from that expression. And by so doing, realize that from that expression, a is 1. Why 1? Because we know a is the coefficient of x squared, which is 1. B is the coefficient of x. Now, b is going to be negative 8, and c is actually the remaining constant, which is 16. Once we know that, then we can actually substitute that into this expression that we've talked about, b over 2 squared equals to ac. Remember, our b is negative 8 divided by 2 squared should be equals to 1 times 16. That is, a is 1 and times c, which is 16. Realize that if we divide here, we are getting 16 equals to 16. Now, because the right hand side equals to the left hand side, then we can actually conclude that the expression above, that is x squared minus 8x plus 16, is a perfect square expression. Furthermore, we can factorize that expression into, that means if we were to factorize this expression up here, x squared minus 8x plus 16, we are going to get x minus 4, which reduces to x minus 4 squared. Realize that that expression from there is a perfect square. Now I'm going to do two examples to demonstrate how to work on those perfect square. Example 1, given there, you are told that what must be added to each of the following expressions to make them perfect squares. What must be added to each of the following expressions to make them perfect squares. The first one, you are given 4x squared, that is 4x squared minus 12x. Now realize from this expression that part C is missing. But here, notice that A is 4, that is the coefficient of x squared, and B, which is the coefficient of x, is negative 12. Therefore, we need to find the value of C. And from this expression, which is B over 2 squared equals to AC, we can substitute the value of A and B, and then we can actually make this C the subject and calculate its value. Therefore, from this expression, by substituting the values of B and A, we have negative 12 over 2 squares equals to 4 times C. Now, by simplifying this expression, we get that 4C equals to 36. Dividing by 4 across, we get that C is 9. And therefore, the term to be added in the above expression, the term to be added here is positive 9. So to make this expression a perfect square, then you are going to add positive 9 to it. Therefore, that expression therefore is going to look like 4x squared minus 12x plus 9. Now see, if you work out this one, you realize now this expression is a perfect square. So the number to be added, or the term to be added there, is positive 9. Now example 2, you are told that x squared plus 49, x squared plus 49. Here realize that A, which is the coefficient of x squared, is 1, and the constant C is 49. Therefore realize that we are missing the middle part B together with its variable. So we need to find the value of B from this equation so that this expression can be perfect. To proceed, realize that B squared over 2 squared equals to AC, but we don't know the value of B. Over 2 squared equals to A, which is 1, times C, which is 49. Now squaring this part, we have B squared over 4 equals to 49. Now to remain with B squared on this side, we'll multiply by 4 both sides, and therefore B squared equals to 196. Now to get B, we'll have to take the square root of both sides, and therefore the square root of B squared is B, and the square root of 196 is positive or negative 14, that is plus or minus 14. And therefore, the term to be added is plus or minus 14x. 14x. That is, the term to be added is plus or minus 14x. Remember, the term to be added should move with its variable. If we are adding part B, then we have to indicate the variable that is x. or whichever the variable the question is giving. Therefore, the expression therefore become x squared minus 14x plus 49, or x squared plus 14x plus 49. Remember, the two expressions are correct because they will give you the perfect square. Remember, any square root of any given number, it's either going to be negative or positive for that case. Now, the third and last example is you're given negative 30x plus 9. That is negative 30x plus 9. Here, you need to realize that the part A is missing together with its variable. Now, what are we going to do here? We are going to find the value of A, whereby we know that B is negative 30, which is the coefficient of x, and the constant C is 9. And therefore, to have the solution, we proceed as follows. Remember that B over 2 squared equals to AC for perfect square expressions. And therefore, we substitute the values given. Negative 30 over 2 squared equals to A, unknown, times 9, which is C. And by so simplifying that expression, we end up with 225 equals to 9A. To get 9, we divide both sides by 9, and we get that A equals to 25. And therefore, the term to be added is 25x squared, right? And therefore, the expression therefore become 25x squared minus 30x plus 9. That now become a perfect expression that if we add 25x squared to this expression given here, then we get that 25x squared minus 30x plus 9 is a perfect square expression. Now, the next lesson I will be tackling the area of completing square method, but I realize, or I think you have understood more on this perfect square, how to know that a particular expression is a perfect square, and how to find missing terms if at all you're told that particular expression is a perfect square. Subscribe and like this video for more lesson to come. I believe you've understood and you have enjoyed that particular lesson. Follow me for more lesson and more interesting lesson to come. Thank you and be blessed.